The moment other people find out how much money you have, you start losing it. Not to a thief, to dinner. Because the second the room learns your number, everybody in it quietly does math. The girlfriend's grip gets a little more permanent. Your friends develop sudden, urgent business ideas. And relatives you've never met show up holding a cake, like the money set off an alarm only your family can hear. Nobody robs this guy. They all just love him now. 7 people smiled and raised a glass to Chase. Not one of them was celebrating. They were appraising. Meet Chase, 31. Just sold his company for $1.8 million. And the most expensive thing he will ever buy is a sentence. 11 words. At a birthday dinner that wasn't even his. Free that night. Billed for 30 years. By the time this tab prints in full, it's cost him a house. Because your net worth is a password. And Chase just read his out loud to a table of 8. Nobody at that table would ever steal from him. They didn't have to. He handed out the login. Nothing illegal is about to happen to Chase's money. It just got seen. And seen money behaves differently. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that costs, to the dollar. If you've got somewhere between $50,000 and $500,000, you're in the exact window where it costs the most. Chase blew right past it. But the same trap is set for you, just quieter. Big enough that people change. Small enough that you can't afford them changing. And get comfortable with the password thing, because it runs the whole video. A password only works while it's secret. Nobody has to hack you. Once it's out, people just log in. Politely, with love even. Your family logs in first. They love you the most, so they have the best password hints. 3 people in this video. Chase broadcast his number. Graham sells tickets to his. Ray has never typed his anywhere. Stick around for Ray. There's a $90,000 phone call coming for him, and he's the only man in this story who gets to say yes. Chase is 31, software sales. Good at it. In March, the company he'd helped build got bought, and his cut wired in. $1.8 million all at once. His banking app threw him digital confetti, because the app knows exactly who it's dealing with. He held the news for 11 days. Personal record. Then, at his buddy Marcus's birthday dinner, again, not even Chase's birthday, he said the sentence, quote, "Guys, it's been a big year. I finally sold the company." He thought he was sharing good news. He was actually signing a lease with everyone at the table. Because here's what Chase said. "Something great happened, and I wanted to share it." And here's what the table heard. "Attention everyone, the check-splitting era of this friendship has concluded." They didn't stop being your friends. You just got promoted. From friend to line of credit. Nobody decided anything. Nothing was said. But 6 months later, watch the bill arrive at that same table. Watch it slide past 3 perfectly employed adults and dock, gently, in front of Chase. The tab is open. Then his dad calls about the Camry's transmission. And to be clear, his dad has money. His dad has more money. But his dad also has a son who announced at a dinner that he's doing great, and news like that travels through a family like smoke through a duplex. 2300. Smoke. His girlfriend didn't change. That's what he'd tell you. The vacations changed, then the restaurants, then the gift expectations. She's the same person, standing in a different price bracket, and Chase built the bracket himself, out loud, with a glass of wine in his hand. She didn't fall for you in March. She fell for the wire. You just happen to be attached to it. By year 2, it's ambient. The bachelor party assumes. The wedding registry assumes. Assumes is now the busiest word in Chase's life. And this is the part everyone gets wrong. Nobody in Chase's life got greedy. Not one of these people is a villain. His price just changed. Every relationship has a price list. Who drives, who hosts, who covers, who waits. And Chase published new rates. Income doesn't opt you out of this. Ask the people making 200 grand. 36% of Americans earning over $200,000 a year live paycheck to paycheck. That's from Lending Club's Paycheck to Paycheck Tracking Survey. Link below. Real report, real sample. And when researchers asked those high earners why, nearly a quarter of them gave the same answer. They're covering other people's expenses. Family members. Numbers like that don't need my help. A quarter of the best paid people in America are broke at the margin because the people around them know they're the best paid people in America. They didn't get robbed. They got known. That's the whole mechanism. That's the disease. Everything else in this video is the itemized bill. Now, Somewhere on the internet, a man tells 2 million strangers his exact net worth, down to the cent, every single Tuesday. And he's rich. Meet Graham Stefano. Graham makes videos about his portfolio, his rental properties, and an iced coffee he claims costs 20 cents, which is only possible if the beans are stolen. And Graham doesn't disprove a thing I just told you. He confirms it. When Graham tells 2 million strangers his number, he gets paid. He calls it transparency. It's a hostage video, except he's the one getting paid. When you tell your cousin, you pay. Same sentence, opposite cash flow. Graham's transparency is a business. It has revenue. Yours is a leak. It has none. Do not take plumbing advice from a man who sells water. And here's the part nobody says out loud. The people who love you most do the math first. To some of them, you're not a person. You're an inheritance that hasn't finished loading. But visibility has a second blade, and this one cuts even when nobody else is in the room. Lifestyle upgrades are a door that locks behind you. You can walk in. There's no handle on the other side. And the oldest proof we have is a bathrobe. It's 1769. Denis Diderot, philosopher, encyclopedia guy, is broke. Comfortable broke. Book rich, cash poor, perfectly happy. Then Catherine the Great of Russia buys his entire library. As a flex, she lets him keep the books and puts him on a salary. Diderot has money for the first time in his life, and somebody gives him a gift. A scarlet dressing gown. Gorgeous. The kind of robe that has an aura. And the robe ruins his life. Because the robe is magnificent, and now, for the first time, everything else he owns looks like garbage next to it. The desk is suddenly shameful. The chair, an insult. The prince, crooked and sad. So he replaces the desk, then the chair, then the prince, then the clock. He upgrades himself straight into debt, and then writes an essay about it. Real essay, 1769. It's called Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown. And in it, he coins one of the saddest lines in the history of money. I was the absolute master of my old robe. I have become the slave of my new one. Economists eventually named this after him, the Diderot effect. One visible upgrade quietly reprices everything adjacent to it, and the repricing only goes one direction. The robe was a gift, by the way. It cost Diderot nothing. Neither did Chase's sentence. That's what one robe did to a man in 1769 with no Instagram. Now watch what your neighbor's boat does to you. In the 2010s, 3 economists, Agarwal, McHead, and Skolnick, in a Philadelphia Fed working paper, got access to something researchers almost never get. Lottery records and bankruptcy filings from the same Canadian neighborhoods. Tiny neighborhoods. Postal codes of about 13 households. The question, when one person on a street that small wins the lottery, what happens to everyone else on the street? Answer, and this is a pattern in the filings, not a prophecy, the bigger the win, the more the neighbors go bankrupt in the years that follow. The winner does fine. It's the audience that goes under. And the researchers could see how it happened because bankruptcy filings itemize what you bought on the way down. The neighbors of big winners went down holding boats, motorcycles, and trucks, visible assets, things you park where the street can see them. Nobody went bankrupt buying index funds. You can't see an index fund from a driveway. Your neighbor won the lottery, and you went bankrupt. You never touched the money, you just stood too close to it. The bank repossessed a boat that a jackpot you didn't win talked you into. And if you're currently thinking, I would never do that, I want you to appreciate that the study is made entirely of people who thought that. This is the part of the password metaphor nobody wants. Visible money is radioactive even secondhand. Your disclosure doesn't just reprice you, it reprices everyone downwind of you. When you announce your number, you're not just handing out your login, you're running up somebody else's tab. And here's the thing about a leak that size. The second the money got seen, Chase got a whole new social circle. He didn't apply for it, it applied for him. The brother-in-law has a ground floor opportunity. It is always the ground floor. Nobody has ever seen the building. Before the toast, this guy split evenly. Now, math only works in one direction. She's not a gold digger. She's just fully vested now. And the relatives don't arrive for birthdays. They arrive like a will reading. Chase is not dead. They checked. They're disappointed. None of them is a villain. Not one of them will ever admit what changed. But every one of them started the meter the night Chase spoke. 4 new friends, 1 open tab. Quick tally of where we are. Telling people repriced Chase's friendships. It taxed his family. The Robe repriced Diderot to himself. And the lottery repriced an entire street. And none of it, is the expensive part. The expensive part is a $400 a month subscription you're paying right now that doesn't show up on any statement. I can't prove your number, but I can show you the line items. This is the math nobody runs, because running it would mean admitting the subscription exists. Take a person whose money is known by friends, family, coworkers, the street. Now add up the image maintenance. The difference between the restaurant you'd pick and the restaurant you're expected at. The car you'd drive versus the car that matches your reputation. Plus the gifts, the trips, the rounds, and the check magnetism. There's no study that measures image maintenance, funds research into your bar tab. So build it in the open. Those deltas, penciled at street prices, come to about $400 a month. Most people watching just penciled their own version and flinched at a bigger number. I saw you. So run it forward. $400 a month invested instead at 7% for 30 years is $487,988. Call it $488,000. The compounding is exact to the dollar. The 400 is yours to argue with. The comment section is open. Half a house, gone. Not to a crash, but to an audience. That's the number from the top of the video, by the way. Told you it was a house. The dinner sentence, itemized over 30 years, that's the house Chase won't be buying at 61. 11 words, $44,000 a word. And the subscription has a cancellation problem. Once people know, every no you say gets audited. Before the dinner, Chase could say, I can't afford it, and that was the end of the sentence. Now every no comes with a receipt request. He can afford it. Everyone knows he can. So his no doesn't mean can't anymore. It means won't. And won't is a different word at Thanksgiving. The most reliable way to find out who loves you is to die with money. The second most reliable way is to mention you have some. Meanwhile, Graham Stefano has been watching the same data you have, and Graham has pivoted. The net worth ticker is gone. The set is beige now. Graham would like to teach you the ancient art of invisible wealth. The course is called Quiet Wealth Academy. It costs $9,997. Every Quiet Wealth Academy enrollment window is the final one, forever. There have been 11 final enrollments. Graham spent 10 years teaching you to flex. Now, for $9,997, he'll teach you to stop. He's selling you the fire extinguisher out of the back of the truck he set on fire. And is now monetizing the cure for the disease he spent a decade spreading, which, from a pure business standpoint, is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. One more thing while we're being honest with each other. You may have noticed that I have never once told you what this channel makes. That's not modesty. I've seen everything you just saw. I know exactly what you do with that number. I've watched you do it to Chase for 15 minutes. My password's staying a password. Which brings us to Ray. Ray is 61, electrician, 38 years. Drives a 2009 Corolla with a headliner he re-glued himself. Ray has $1.1 million. And you could interrogate his brother-in-law for a week and the man could not produce a number for you. Nobody has ever picked up a check for Ray or slid one to him. Ray's family asks Ray for advice, because advice is the only asset anyone knows he has. Ray's financial advisor once told him that transparency with loved ones builds trust. Ray responded with 45 minutes about sump pumps. They don't bring it up anymore. And yes, people will still ask you directly. An uncle at a wedding, a coworker 2 drinks into a happy hour, point blank. So how much have you got saved? Ray has been fielding that question for 30 years with the same 3 moves. Move 1, the boring answer. We're doing okay. Delivered with the enthusiasm of a man describing gravel. Boring is invisible. Nobody has ever followed up on okay. Move 2, the redirect. Ask about their thing. People will forgive you for having money. They will not forgive you for failing to ask about the kitchen remodel. Move 3, the black belt, the worry. With prices where they are, we're keeping a close eye on things. Every word of that is true. Ray is keeping a close eye on things. That's how it got to 1.1 million. Now watch the only comparison that matters. It isn't the balances. Chase versus Ray isn't about who has more. Chase out-earns Ray by double. It's about who gets to decide things. Last spring, Ray's old foreman called. Small shop, good books, owner retiring, needs a partner. Buy-in, $90,000, 60 days. This is the phone call from the top of the video. Ray listened, hung up, talked to his wife, wrote the check that week. No one to explain it to, no image to consult. Nobody even knew it happened. Ray's tab, 38 years running, $0.00. The printer barely woke up. Chase got a call like that once. Everybody publicly successful eventually does. He said no. He had the income to say yes, and not one free dollar to say it with. His money was all spoken for, mostly by people who'd heard about it. Secret money is options. Visible money is obligations. That's the entire video in 8 words, and I'd put it on a shirt, but Graham would sell the shirt. So no, there's no 5-step framework coming. There's just Ray, the man at the table who could buy the restaurant, ordering from the middle of the menu, celebrating his milestones in a group chat of exactly 2, him and his wife. When something big happens to Ray's money, Ray tells the math, and the math compounds, because the math can keep a secret. So here's Chase's tab printed in full. The checks, the Camry, the upgrades that couldn't be walked back, the $400 a month compounding quietly against him for 30 years, $487,988. For 11 words. The most expensive birthday toast in recorded history. And second place is empty, because everyone in second place kept their mouth shut, and we've never heard of them. You want the empty frame. Your net worth is a password. Chase's got typed into a toast. Graham's is a subscription product. Ray's has never been entered anywhere, by anyone, and that, only that, is why it still works. So the next time something wonderful happens to your money, feel it completely. Tell your spouse, tell the math, and change your password.